At the Battle of the Somme in World War I, a New Zealand colonel led a formidable attack on the German trenches that has become legendary. With death in the air, he advanced on the enemy despite being hit by machine gun fire. Shot again and again, his body shattered, he refused any help until the Germans finally surrendered. For having inspired his men with his own contempt for danger, this soldier was awarded the greatest military honor of them all, the Victoria Cross. The New Zealander was Lord Bernard Freyberg, and his remains are buried in the heart of the English countryside, where today family and friends are meeting at a special commemorative service for him. Among the dignitaries and descendants in attendance is a visiting member of New Zealand's elite SAS, Corporal Willie Apiata.
You know Corporal Apiata?
Blair and Freyberg, hello, how do you do?
Like the man he has travelled so far to honour, Corporal Willie Apiata is a holder of the Victoria Cross.
I never thought I would ever see another New Zealand awarded one of those.
In just a handful of weeks, the award has propelled a soldier used to a life of anonymity into full public view, making him the star of the New Zealand military and a hero to his country. The Victoria Cross, the result of a selfless act of bravery in the war in Afghanistan. It was a moment long forgotten, until just 3 months ago. At the headquarters of New Zealand Special Air Service, the commanding officer is about to release the biggest story in the unit's history. One he has kept secret for almost a year.
When I took over from my predecessor, he informed me of a number of issues, and his parting shot was, oh, and by the way, you might want to keep your eye on this.
In 2006, the colonel was handed a dossier recommending one of his corporals receive the highest award for gallantry. And 1 month ago, that recommendation was approved by the head of the Commonwealth, the Queen.
RSM, do you want to get one?
The manner of this honour makes the story too big to hide, so Corporal Willie Apiata must be revealed to the New Zealand public tomorrow.
Hey, Willie. Let's go.
A 5-year veteran of this unit, Willie Apiata is oblivious to what awaits.
It's usually bad news for a corporal to be dragged into the CO's office on any day, let alone a Sunday morning.
Morning, Willie. Have a sit down.
Probably received the shock of his life over the next 5 minutes.
Laid out in front of Willie Apiata, 3 letters.
So sort of wondering, what the hell's going on here. And opened the first letter and started reading through, and yeah, it was quite speechless actually, and emotional.
The Queen's representative, the Governor-General, the New Zealand Prime Minister and Minister of Defence confirmed that Willie Apiata will receive the rarest of military honours, making him one of just 12 holders of the Victoria Cross alive in the world.
Didn't really get a chance for it to sink in. I was whisked away down to Wellington that afternoon.
As a Special Forces soldier, the disclosure of Corporal Willie Apiata's actions is unprecedented. He is also the first person to receive the Victoria Cross for New Zealand. Willie is flanked by his commanding officer, his regimental sergeant major, and a carefully chosen mentor from the unit. While in Wellington, their job is to keep Willie up close, but out of sight, until tomorrow's announcement.
It's hard enough for me knowing, but it's not me that was receiving the medal. For Willie, it would have been near impossible to sit on a secret like that, knowing that his whole life was going to change.
The first step in this life-changing event takes the group to an almost deserted New Zealand Defence headquarters, where the team responsible for overseeing tomorrow's public announcement has a long night planned.
Okay. Hey, Clive.
G'day.
How are you?
Good.
Clive Robertson. Willie Apiata.
Willie. Right.
Yeah, right. Clive's going to measure you up for your uniforms, and then after that we'll get some photos done.
Okay, cool. All right.
Straight away, Willie is sent for a uniform fitting in an adjacent building.
One day you'll have a statue like this here.
The statue of Brigadier Bernard Freiberg VC is a reminder to Willie of his newfound status.
Willie looking straight ahead like you would. Yep. Right.
Feet touch the ground, yeah. You did bring some skivvies, eh?
Just drop your arms by side.
Willie gets a new uniform, befitting the occasion of such an announcement.
You know, Willie's more comfortable in a pair of gumboots and a pair of old trackies or, his hunting gear. The reality of it is that, that's not appropriate attire for a public event.
It's all organised.
As the evening draws on, Willie receives an unexpected visit from the country's most senior military commander, Lieutenant General Jerry Mataparai.
From 10:30 a.m. tomorrow, you'll be wearing those. Good luck. See you tomorrow.
Understandably nervous, Willie is the first New Zealand recipient of a Victoria Cross in 64 years.
I'm just going to relax. We get plenty of this. It's a fairly daunting prospect to know that you've gone from relative anonymity to becoming a public figure for the rest of your life.
3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Okay, you can relax.
Willie gets a crash course in how to be an overnight hero.
Willie's a very humble person by nature and not prone to saying too much.
But that doesn't cut the mustard. When an announcement like this is made, then people want to know a little bit about you and they want to hear your story.
You're a hero. Absolutely. Now you might need to hear that a few more times before it starts sitting comfortably, and you're going to hear it a lot. As of tomorrow, when the first radio bulletins go out, you are a New Zealand celebrity. People will be reading the Prime Minister's announcement and seeing your photo all around the world by 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's how big and how fast it's all going to happen. Yeah. Now that's going to take a little while to rattle around in between your ears, but I'm telling you now, bro, it's the absolute reality.
It's like, hey, you jump into the deep end of a pool and you can't really swim, mate. And you're treading so much water trying to get back to the surface.
At midnight, the call is made to stop.
Yeah, we might leave it there then. 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
For Willie, a sleepless night lies ahead, as he knows that tomorrow, New Zealand will be delivered the groundbreaking news. They have a new hero.
Word came from the back to send a couple of pigs back for Christmas. They stuck this pig there, and just then the Italians who owned the house, they were right back, and of course the ones outside greeted them just to make, to keep them out of the way. And they wondered how the hell they're going to get this pig out, past the Italians who owned it. So somebody had a quick idea. And they took the stretcher off, took it inside, put this pig on, put the sheet over it, and of course the blood was trickling through. A couple of them could walk out with this pig in the poor Italians there. They took their hats off and bowed their head as the pig was being taken onto the jeep and then way to the back.
With the Prime Minister's announcement that Corporal Willie Apiata has been awarded the Victoria Cross, the 35-year-old soldier must now face a national press conference, and he's not looking forward to it.
From where I come from the job I do, even giving a little is too much.
And when you're ready, we'll just start.
Lieutenant Colonel Mike Shatford briefs the press on the ground rules.
What I'd like to do is just outline the process that's going to happen this afternoon, so we're all clear on the rules of the game. Willie Apiata has only just found out about this huge honour. It is quite overwhelming, so I would ask that you go as easy as you possibly can on him.
Willie's moment of reckoning cannot be delayed any longer.
I don't think anyone can prepare themselves for what I walked into that morning.
I'm right behind you.
Cheers, sir. Just standing there was just unreal, eh? Just real emotional.
Willie Apiata joins yet another group of elite people. This is the first award of the Victoria Cross for New Zealand. His is the first and the only Victoria Cross to be awarded to a New Zealand serviceman since the end of the Second World War.
The questioning quickly turns to that night in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I was doing my job, and just looking after my mates. It was the...
What was going through your mind at that time?
You can sense the anticipation of the press. Get some sort of information out of you so they can tell your story. Where's my buddies? How can I help them?
During this incident, did you feel fear? I mean, what was the feeling that went through you as you were doing this?
At the time, I was just doing what I've been trained for, do my job, look out for my mates, watch each other's back, and at the heat of the moment, I can't really say at this time.
There was a lot of fire going on. You weren't worried about being hit.
Oh, I think it's probably time to take the question somewhere else. Willie's obviously quite overwhelmed by the situation today, and perhaps we could talk a little bit more about some other things.
Do you see yourself perhaps as the living legend, as others might do from the State Ward?
I see myself as Willie Apiata. I'm just an ordinary person, and this is me. Yeah. This is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, actually.
Good one. Well done.
Thank you, sir. That was a great job. It was an enormous amount of pressure on him to present himself. I think he did a great job. But Willie was just Willie. He was just being himself. That is him. That is Willie the man.
After facing the cameras, Willie asked for a private moment with the people who helped him through it.
I've always been a man of few words, but I need to say something, and since 9 o'clock yesterday, it's just been an unbelievable experience. The old 12 o'clock news today, that sort of really hit home for me. I'd just like to thank you all for everything that you've done in the last 3 years, building up to this day. I can't believe I only just found out 9 o'clock yesterday about all of this, but thanks very much. Words just can't explain how much I appreciate what you fellas have done. So, thank you. Kia ora.
You're going to get sick of us.
Yes, Willie.
Thank you.
Good on you.
legend, a man who displayed...
Back at the hotel, Willie watches his story lead the national news for the second time that day.
It hasn't changed me at all. Still just one of the boys back at work, and always will be.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. 63 separate media stories about Willie, online coverage throughout New Zealand, now spreading to Australia, France and the UAE.
This is just an awesome thing that's happening.
I know.
You know, I didn't think it'd be that big at all, but it just felt like it almost went global just like that.
Some messages of support that have come to Corporal Willie Apiata from Snoop in South Korea. That makes me proud to be a Maori again. From Sunny Ambudi, salam peace, God bless you and your family for the ultimate good deed you have done in Afghanistan. From Dean from Queensland, Kia ora Willie, well done bro from the bros in Iraq, Kia kaha Dino. Nice one, if I see you in the pub it's my shout. Hey, get that guy's name.
For those charged with protecting the secret, the public announcement of Willie's Victoria Cross has gone off without a hitch.
Cheers to you and your team.
Really the relief that it was finally out there. For me, it was a great relief because I I'd sat on it for some 10 months or so. But all of a sudden it was a secret that didn't have to be kept anymore.
In just a few hours, Corporal Willie Apiata of the NZ SAS has become an official New Zealand hero, but a reluctant one.
Before they announced it, I'd finally sort of put it to rest. But it's resting no more. It's going to be there now for the rest of my life. But, you know, you'll never forget that night. It'll always be there.
Following the 9/11 attacks, an international coalition was on the hunt for Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. Among those pursuing the terrorists were the New Zealand SAS. Renowned trackers, they're one of the world's leading special forces. Highly skilled and self-sufficient, the New Zealanders were able to penetrate far behind enemy lines in all environments. They were ideally suited for the rugged Afghanistan landscape. Operating in small convoys of motorcycle pathfinders and armed patrol vehicles, the NZSAS faced an elusive enemy that had used the local terrain to deadly effect against the Russian army years before. Among those handpicked for this deadly mission was Corporal Willie Apiata.
Have all these things that may happen to you, but you resort to the training that you've been given.
Moving through villages and outposts, the New Zealand troopers gathered intelligence on any suspicious movements.
We're chasing information, and information to us is currency.
Good information could lead them directly to the enemy. On this occasion, a cache of guns, explosives and rocket-propelled grenades were taken from the enemy. But Corporal Willie Apiata's patrol would not be so lucky on their next encounter. Their time in the capital has gone to plan, and the commanding officer and his team head back to base. But changes in Willie's life are already apparent.
In the first person to ask him for an autograph, sort of said, would you mind giving me an autograph? And Willie said sure, and looked at me and wasn't quite sure what to do. Well, I've never been asked for an autograph, so it was new to me as well. I said, well, just put your name. So he did. He wrote Willie and handed it back. And I said, well, we can probably do a bit better than that next time. So, of course, now he signs himself Willie Apiata VC, as he should.
Corporal Willie Apiata returns to base and back to the routine of a Special Forces soldier, he hopes.
He was welcomed back, and it was business as usual as far as the guys were concerned. Handshakes, not too many man hugs going around this place.
It doesn't matter if he's wandering around with a Victoria Cross on his chest. If he does something wrong, he's going to know about it.
I was coming in every morning. I still do PT as usual every morning. And your feet back on the ground, working with the lads. doing some shooting, just getting a bit of cordite back in the nostrils, getting your eye back in, making sure you're still doing it.
Despite his attempts to return to normality, everything has changed for Willie Apiata. He's the only corporal in the New Zealand military with his own office.
He's only a corporal, he's got his own office, but he's got to answer a couple of hundred emails and letters every few days. I don't think any other corporal around the place would want to do that.
Messages have flooded in from politicians, celebrities, sporting heroes, war veterans and other proud regiments from every part of society and corner of the globe.
When you get a feel of how all the people are feeling out there, the response from them was awesome. It was just overwhelming.
It's been an interesting process. A lot of people have asked for Willie to go and speak or to be present at events. I think a lot of people forget that Willie's actually still a soldier, and he's a soldier in the SAS. I'm trying to keep things as normal as we can, trying to schedule events as best we can not to disrupt him. Where possible, get him out for a jump with the lads.
But Willie's newfound status is now inescapable, even at work. A member of the flight crew ambushes Willie for an autograph while he prepares for a training jump with other members of the unit's amphib troop. A few brief moments of isolation under canopy offer Willie his only relief from the attention. But there is one set of faces that Willie is desperate to see.
My family's suffering for it at the moment, but I know I've just got to be patient, and I'll get that time,
Over the next few days, media interest intensifies on Willie Apiata and the actions in Afghanistan that led to his Victoria Cross. Meanwhile, Willie learns the financial and personal pressures all VC winners must face.
I was concerned, as any commanding officer would be, when one of his subordinates is put into a position like this. I was concerned for him personally.
While some recipients and their families have succumbed to the substantial dollar value of the medals, others have suffered a greater toll.
There are enough stories of Victoria Cross winners that have ended up destitute or drunk and destitute. We certainly didn't want that to occur, and there's no inclination that it's likely to either.
Finally, after much demand, the media are granted a series of closely supervised one-on-one interviews.
All right, if you guys will follow me, well, welcome to the unit.
But the very private soldier is still uncomfortable with his public role.
I never thought I'd ever be talking to the media about it. Yeah.
Hello.
With his famous corporal on edge, the CO lets everyone know exactly where the boundaries lie.
As you know, we're a very discreet organisation. We're not comfortable in the public eye. It's not something we do naturally. We're just trying to get some balance between New Zealand's requirements on Willie and Willie's requirements on Willie.
Given that the SAS is, it sort of builds its reputation on anonymity, isn't that shot for him now?
No, not at all. He still has anonymity with a gas mask on, doesn't he?
The media are no longer covering the story for just New Zealand, but for news agencies around the globe.
Last week, Willie Apiata was this anonymous bloke.
And now you're having to do all these horrible interviews with us.
The public in New Zealand want to know who I am. As a soldier in the NZSAS, and that's who I am.
We've been receiving messages on our website. They've been coming in by the hundreds.
They generally wanted to know who I was and how I was feeling.
Yeah, it's still quite overwhelming, the experience that I'm going through, and I'm taking it one day at a time.
Someone quoted you as saying you'd rather face the Taliban than the media.
There's a couple of them there actually that were sort of right up in your face, but I all know they just want a piece of Willie Apiata, so we had to give them a little bit.
Put you in front of that and take your photo as an honour, right? Are big words you don't really like. You were just doing your job. Okay.
Some journalists go fishing for more details about Afghanistan.
Now, Afghanistan. How long had you been in Afghanistan when this particular action happened?
Probably no questions in terms of the specifics of the answer.
Okay. So you're up against a group of Taliban?
No specifics on that.
So there's really no more details about Afghanistan that we...
No, the specifics of the answer. There's very good reasons for that. We're not being defensive and we're not trying to hide anything.
In the hunt for Al-Qaeda terrorists, Corporal Willie Apiata's patrol had travelled to the remotest regions of Afghanistan.
We go to villages to talk to the locals, and some places we go to, they haven't seen soldiers since the Russian days.
Biblical is the only thing that springs to mind. Donkeys, people carrying poles of wood, mud huts, very biblical.
There was a number of occasions we'd go into a village and we'd get flowers thrown onto our vehicle because they were quite happy to see us.
We're a different bunch, as Kiwis. We pretty much get on with just about everybody.
But greetings weren't always so enthusiastic.
Just happened to approach this village just before last light and thought we'd jack up a visit in the mornings and let people know that we were there.
The welcoming we got as we went through that village was quite hostile, just in the way that they looked at us.
We had been told previously that the village was sympathetic to Taliban.
With the meeting set up for the next day, the patrol moved away from the village to make camp for the night.
Some form of dominating ground that we can fight from, that you feel secure in, that have got eyes on basically all around the fence.
But the landscape failed to offer an ideal location to lay up.
But there was still a lot of deep ground that we couldn't see into.
Hiding in the shadows, a hostile army was amassing. At the end of this first week, Willie gets a much-needed short break. No media, celebrity snapshots, or personal minders.
I really needed it, just to clear my head, get my head around things, and get some closure with my family. They hadn't seen me since this whole thing started, and they were starting to tear the TV apart every time I was on.
Willie heads south to see his partner and son and his biggest follower.
Only my mum really understood what it was about. Wanted it to come out on the TV, basically. The rest of my family finally realised.
You know, life's not the same anymore on the home front, don't you?
Just like that.
And my mum, she's followed me through my career ever since the first day when I went away to do my first weekend of army training.
Troopers. I didn't know you had all these. Well, that was when I come back from Afghan, eh?
Following several years in the Territorial Army, his mother would also see Willie's disappointment after an unsuccessful first attempt to join the New Zealand SAS, an old injury denying his chance of selection.
I was pretty gutted about that. But I had a good unit that I was with at the time, put me back into work and says, hey, there'll always be another opportunity, and I knew there would be.
Nice.
After serving in East Timor, Willie tried for the New Zealand SAS selection again in 2001. This time, he made the grade.
Grace or?
Our Heavenly Father, bless this food we're about to devour. Bless this house. Bless our journey. Amen.
As a combat trooper, Willie is away on training and operations much of the year, so he spends all his remaining time with his partner and son as they come to terms with the changes in Willie's life.
No matter how tired I am or how drained I feel, I'll always make time to spend with my boy. I know that's all he wants, to be with Dad, but he's away so much.
Tide's gone.
Ah, we missed it. That's the one. You're wheeling it up a little bit.
All too soon, Willie's weekend with loved ones is over. The next time they meet will be in Wellington, where the Governor-General will present Willie Apiata with the Victoria Cross in a grand public ceremony. The day has finally arrived for the investiture of the Victoria Cross. And Corporal Willie Apiata has been joined by members of his family for the monumental occasion.
It was really great that my family could come down and experience that with me. It was the first time you ever got all of my family on a plane. My mum's never flown. My two older sisters have never flown.
You know Daddy will be there waiting for you, alright? There's a piss. Hey? Come on.
Willie's short journey to Government House will take only 15 minutes, but it's a day 3 years in the making.
The unit at the time raised a recommendation and arrived at the Chief of Defence Forces office.
The recommendation went from the military to the offices of the Prime Minister, where previous awards were compared.
It was then pushed further to Buckingham Palace.
Dates, events and actions were rigorously checked, double-checked and checked again.
And as such, they then recommended to the Queen that perhaps Willie should be considered for a Victoria Cross.
In 1857, Queen Victoria awarded the first Victoria Cross. And today, Willie will receive a bronze medal cast from the same cannon metal dating back to the Crimean War.
Good luck, mate. Thank you, sir. Still sort of coming home to rest, you know?
Yeah.
Make no apologies, but...
No, it's no worries, sir.
While other distinguished guests arrive, Willie catches up with other personnel who will be decorated for their acts of bravery.
We know what happened that day, and no words really have to be spoken.
Good to see you, Willie. Good to see you, mate. How's everything been?
Hey.
Are you managing?
Yeah, managing, mate.
I thought you did a great job on TV, mate. I mean, it would have been bloody shit.
I was in Australia and I saw him doing it.
But I had to tell you to shut up.
Here you go, Daddy. I'm gonna put you down now. Okay?
Yeah.
Because you're heavy. You're a big boy.
I'm not a big boy, I'm a little boy.
Among those keen to greet Willie is a former All Black captain and the chief of the New Zealand Army. Meanwhile, his mother chats to a familiar face.
Usually when you come to Parliament, no one's there and it's about 2 o'clock in the morning.
As the press arrive at Government House, a very private ceremony is already taking place inside.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, their excellencies, the Honourable Anand Satyanan and Mrs. Susan Satyanan. Approximately 3:15.
3 other medals are to be awarded for acts of gallantry.
Each of you has, as members of the 1st New Zealand Special Air Service Group, rendered distinguished service to our country, New Zealand.
Quite often a lot of our work is not acknowledged, and nor should it be. But in this particular instance, these individuals, representative of the SAS group, were being recognised, and they had the opportunity to be in a very dignified way.
But the celebrations of today are a far cry from the events of 3 years ago. During a tour of Afghanistan, an NZ SAS patrol was forced to lay up for the night in terrain that offered limited defensive protection. As the 3-man crew of Corporal Willie Apiata's vehicle slept, a small army of insurgents lay under the cover of darkness with rocket-propelled grenades and machine guns.
Something's going to happen. It'll always happen when you least expect it. And that's what happened.
The whole car erupted basically as the first RPG hit.
I woke up standing up with my sleeping bag around my ankles, blown off the bottom. I could feel all the overpressure coming off it as well. And plus all the small arms in the background.
I just crawled as low as I could to the vehicle.
The RPGs and machine gun rounds ripped through the vehicle commander's arm.
I remember him looking for the entry and the exit, and looking right through.
The three of us were at the back of the wagon, pinned down.
The whole wagon was shaking. Bullets ripping through the metal. RPG rounds hitting it after that, one after the other. I sort of lost count on how many rockets, I suppose, hit the wagon. I think I might have counted about 5 or so.
With support nearly 100 meters away, the vehicle commander was rapidly bleeding to death.
I can remember my body going into peripheral shutdown, and I can remember my feet, losing feeling in my feet as the blood drains to your core.
Imagine turning a tap on with the old hose and the water running out, splashing on the ground.
As the enemy approached, the New Zealanders faced certain death.
I don't think anyone could have come to help us. We had to get ourselves out.
Anyone else?
The moment has finally arrived for Willie to receive the Victoria Cross.
All right. On your lead, my liege. Good luck. There really are 2 caveats placed on the awarding of the Victoria Cross. The first is a singular brave act or deed. Secondly, the nature of that act must be such that it turned the tide of the battle that was being conducted. I also read that you have to have a 90% chance of dying.
As Governor-General, I have the authority and privilege, on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen, to confer the honour of the Victoria Cross for New Zealand on Corporal Bill Henry Apiata of the New Zealand Special Air Service Group. You are the first person to receive the Victoria Cross for New Zealand.
Corporal Bill Henry Apiata, New Zealand Special Air Service of that group.
Great privilege to share this special New Zealand moment with you. Wear it with great pride. All the best to you, Kingsons.
When he pinned it on my chest, it was like one of the heaviest things I'd ever carried. It was such a small thing. I felt very proud that day, Things that had finally sunk in by then, and I just felt very proud for my country.
Yeah, well, I've always been a man of few words, and I'm still trying to get used to all the press and that. It's been a very emotional and humbling experience today. All the New Zealanders out there that have supported me and sent me all those messages, I have still reading through them all, and I will read them all. They are very heartwarming messages. And
I've given up being surprised by any of these guys. Just when you think that they've gone to the level of their endurance or the level of their capabilities, they'll always come out with more. So, in his particular instance, he's done a fantastic job.
After a day surrounded by the country's leaders, a proud family at last gets a brief moment to themselves.
That is so precious. Man, that's going to be loaded by the time you're finished.
Hey, we're cutting the time, eh?
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah. You can say goodbye to them.
My brother.
Yeah, you look after yourself too. See you when you come home. Yep.
Love you too, sis.
Bye.
boss. Thanks.
And then, at the end of the most important day of his life, Willie is finally alone.
I just like be at peace with myself for just those few moments. You know, and take in all the day's events. Because even though it was the end of the day, the journey wasn't over yet.
Winter had set in, snow, and then it just got sort of boring. You know, we weren't actually moving, we weren't going anywhere. And we thought, oh, bugger, have a bit of fun with these Germans, and we'd get up on the bank with our Brent guns and, the old shave and a haircut, shampoo. We could play that on the Brent gun because it was so slow going. We went tat-tat-tat-tat-tat, we could use it with the trigger, tat-tat-tat-tat-tat. Like that, you see. The Germans would retaliate. Their Spandau, they fired about 10 times faster than ours. They tried to emulate us and they go brr, 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 brr. We thought
If Corporal Willie Apiata thought after receiving the Victoria Cross he would quietly return to his former life in the New Zealand SAS, he was mistaken.
The award brings with it a great opportunity and great privilege, but it also brings tremendous responsibility.
Instead of resuming normal duties, Willie and the Victoria Cross are sent on a week-long publicity road trip.
Everybody wanted to meet Willie, wanted Willie to appear at events.
The launch pad for the tour is Waiuru, the main training base for the New Zealand Army. Already the impact of Willie's new celebrity status is apparent. The corporal's accommodation is upgraded to one normally reserved for VIPs.
And then when the CO said, oh, we're crashing at the homestead, and we actually stayed there, I was like, whoa.
I'm a lieutenant colonel. I don't get to stay at the homestead. Certainly not the sort of place that a corporal would stay. Normally you'd be at the whole barracks there.
At Waiuru Military Museum, Willie literally comes face to face with his newfound fame.
It's been amazing the amount of public interest in here, everyone. And we've got a couple of panels down there. We've had them in for about 6 months. Hardly anyone pays attention. Yeah. This has been up since last week, and certainly the interest in it's been amazing. All will be transferred permanently down to the main museum. And you've got the Falklands and the Gulf.
The museum is home to New Zealand's Gallantry Awards.
All the Victoria Crosses that we hold here, they're obviously all real. And this one's Charles Upham's.
Willie's actions have placed him alongside the likes of Charles Upham, New Zealand's most famous double VC winner, and Bernard Freyberg. In these surroundings, for the first time, this humble soldier is not alone.
I don't see myself as a hero. Just do my job out there that day.
Next stop, Palmerston North Boys High. The school has a proud military past. Many former pupils fought and lost their lives during the 2 world wars.
We are absolutely honoured to be visited by this delegation from the SAS and Corporal Willie Apiata, VC. He displays many of the qualities dear to this school. His courage and humility, an example to us all. School stand.
This symbolic act of 1,600 boys is a heartfelt demonstration of the groundswell of national pride. And his companions are briefly thrown into the world of Willie Apiata, VC.
gosh, you guys making me feel special.
Theo, there you go.
That's it.
People have an immense amount of pride as a result of his decoration.
To introduce you to my wife, sure does.
It seems everyone wants a moment with Willie Apiata.
Anywhere I go now, garage or on a dairy, people always come up, are you Willie Apiata?
From playgrounds to parade ground, Willie has brought much honour to all ranks.
Soldiers out there are just so proud. This is a big lift for New Zealand Defence Force as a whole.
For Willie, an emotional trip is nearly at an end. The last port of call is the Infantry Battalion's 50th celebrations, where he is to present a special gift.
Says Corporal Willie Apiata, VC, the 1st New Zealand Special Air Service Group.
To acknowledge what this really means to us as a warfighting organisation, and we can put aside the political correctness, but we're talking about closing with and killing the Queen's enemies. The example of close combat and the requirement of a bond between soldiers is timeless, transcends the technology we have. I thank you for this.
There's a good reason why soldiers fight. They don't necessarily, when in the heat of battle, fight for Queen and country or anything other than the man on their left and right.
In Afghanistan, 3 NZ SAS soldiers were trapped behind a burning vehicle, their commander bleeding to death.
I know enough about med through the unit to know that it was an arterial bleed.
Attempts to reach the first aid only drew more fire. Their chances of survival were disappearing fast.
As soon as a vehicle like that has some type of fire, it turns itself into a lead magnet.
You could definitely see one of the vehicles that had come up to support us engaging quite hardcore.
The vehicle was getting hit hard because it was visible by the assault force, which was only about probably 25 metres away.
Things intensified to just had a feeling we stayed there any longer, we wouldn't last much longer.
We probably would have all come home in a box. The rate of fire had increased even more, and that was when Willie decided, we're out of here.
Chucked him on my shoulder and I said, let's go mate, and we headed off back towards where we knew our guys were.
It certainly never came into anyone's mind that we ever leave anyone behind.
Their only hope, run through the firefight to the support vehicle.
You just keep going till you either go where you want to go or you get dropped.
Running up that hill, the ground was on fire. Tracer whipping through the air. I didn't feel no weight at all. Adrenaline pumping through your body, just knowing you have to cover that area to get him to safety. I don't know how to really explain it better, but you've got everything that you've learnt from the moment you were born up until that moment is flowing through your body. Trying to help you get out of that situation alive.
Against unbelievable odds, Corporal Willie Apiata made it unscathed and delivered his wounded commander to a waiting medic. But the battle was far from over. It's the end of the road trip, and there's only one place Willie Apiata wants to be.
It was what I've been waiting for, to come home, bring the medal back to the unit, bring it back to the lads, and say to them, here boys, This is for us.
Hey boys. Hey brothers. How's it going, bro?
Willie, congratulations. Good to see you, buddy.
Oh, my goodness.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you,
Good to see you, buddy.
Hey bro. Cheers there, brother. So good to be in here having a beer, man. All these real formal things that we've been to. This is the only place I can let my hair down, eh? Just like I say is, hey, just kia ora to everybody here. Kia ora koutou. I am proud and honoured to wear this VC. I didn't ask for it. It was bestowed upon me. And what my thoughts are is, I carry it for us boys, the lads who were there that day, the lads that are here now, the ones that are past, and the ones that are in the future. Bros, it's ever so grounding to come home because you fellas are my levelers. You will always keep me the same, and that's how I want to be. One of the lads with you fellas. So, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Cheers, brothers.
Tonight, our fallen heroes are remembered at ceremonies around the country. We're live at Gallipoli, where there's a special Kiwi service, a haunting video of a suicide bomber and family man, and a nail-biter in the big rugby game in Christchurch. All that and more after A Reluctant Hero.
You can't express it clearly enough how keen you are to get back, oh my God, we're going to get together again. I can remember coming up into Littleton Harbour, and we got off that boat. There was a train that took us to the Christchurch railway station, and you sort of be looking, how long is it? And then I got off that train, and there she was. There's nothing that will ever equal that meeting.
After only his second weekend off in 2 months, Corporal Willie Apiata VC is hard back at work for the New Zealand SAS. His time is a constant juggle between the intense training required of a Special Forces soldier and the demands placed on being the country's newest hero.
This calibre of this award is something you can't hide, something you couldn't keep under wraps.
Among a stream of invitations Willie receives, one has great personal significance. It's from the 375 residents of a tiny coastal community in the Eastern Bay of Plenty called Te Kaha, Willie's hometown.
They're very forthcoming and humble people, and they really looked after us when we moved there. They teach you to value the land where you live, appreciate what you have. We're living down there is unspoiled and hasn't been commercialised, as you could say.
Up until now, Willie has been supported by a close team, personally led by his commanding officer. But this weekend, that all changes.
It wasn't about us. It wasn't about the SAS. It was wider than that. It was about Willie Apiata. It was about his iwi.
The homecoming at Te Kaha is a trip Willie must take alone. The elders of this community have pulled out all the stops as the population swells to nearly 4,000, making Willie's visit home the biggest gathering of Māori in the district in over a century.
It was a huge thing. All those people down there, you know, it sort of took something like this to really bring them all together.
Decreed a hui of national significance, the homecoming is not just to honour Willie.
You see all those photos of the fallen soldiers. You're there watching the occasion as well.
Soldiers like Lieutenant Tumoana Nui Akiwa Ngarimu, awarded the Victoria Cross, but killed in action during World War II.
You could feel in the air. At every stage, you could feel our ancestors. You could feel their presence.
Tomorrow will be the official celebration, but tonight a local son is welcomed home. Before the announcement of the Victoria Cross, few knew Willie was a soldier, let alone a decorated member of the country's elite fighting unit.
For them to find out like that, I think they're still trying to get over the shock of it as well. Really proud people.
The one-time mischievous kid has returned a mature and much-loved warrior hero.
Tina, we're proud of you, darling. We're so proud of you.
A New Zealand Special Forces patrol in Afghanistan was on the offensive after being attacked in the early hours of the morning by a large number of insurgents.
For us, it was like a blind hit from nowhere, and where did that come from? And it's the quick orientation to the threat, which is what the guys did.
Despite his brush with death, Corporal Willie Apiata threw himself into the fray.
What I saw was Willie covered in blood, wrapped up with a machine gun belt, carrying a GPMG general person with a machine gun, looking like he wanted to do business.
Start getting some fire back.
I honestly believe that they bit off more than they could chew.
Dad stopped firing long before we did.
On Saturday morning, Willie Apiata is formally welcomed onto the marae, and the emotion of the occasion is overwhelming.
I didn't really realise the scale the event was going to be until I turned up that day. These people were so proud to have me come back home. That will hang with me forever.
Looking good, Wills. Looking good.
Wearing a precious cloak and seated at the forefront of all dignitaries, Willie receives a lineup of speakers whose oratory represents the feelings of the many guests.
Willie Apiata, con queste nei terani nei, tena conta tu matawen, con queste nei te tawiro te
The emotions that I was feeling that day, there are no words for them.
Willie is called to the Wharenui, where he is handed a centuries-old mere, carved from the highest strike of greenstone. Flanked by the images of past generations of soldiers, Willie turns and formally acknowledges the people, his tears barely kept in check.
Well done. Well done. You're welcome, my man.
Warrior to warrior, Willie now greets the surviving war veterans.
Thank you for the honor. Thank you for knowing you.
Their respect is such that the sight of the Victoria Cross is too much for some to bear.
Feel all the mana coming off those men. They're so proud. They're so honoured to be there.
It takes Willie several minutes to make his way through the well-wishers to the official dinner.
It must seem a long way for Willie from wherever it was in Afghanistan back home to be celebrated for what he's done. In government, we hear whenever our people are involved in some kind of action overseas. Word comes back, there's been an incident, an action. Eventually we hear a bit more. And then in this case, eventually the Chief of Defence came in and he said something extraordinary happened. We started documenting the story, looking at the precedents, and on that basis, advice to me was I should recommend to Her Majesty the Queen that Corporal Willie Apiata be recognised. And I'm pleased.
It wasn't just me there that day. There was a lot of other men on the ground. And we all know we're a tight family, and we just look after each other, and that's just the way we are. There's an old saying, who are ye in rags and rotten shoes? The bearded ones blocking the way. We are the pilgrims, Master. We're just the humble men, just ordinary blokes, just like everybody here. My heart goes out to you, everybody here, everyone. We are one Māori. Tēnā koutou, kia ora koutou katoa.
Our battalion march to victory. Our battalion marching true. Our battalion march to glory. Take the honor of the eagle with you. And we'll march, march, march to the enemy. And we'll fight, fight to the end.
Going through this cemetery part out of there, and I walked around this tombstone, and I saw this German there, and I pointed my gun at him, and he was looking up and he was saying aqua, aqua, and I looked down and I put my gun and I started to reach for my water bottle, and he rolled over to reach like this, and his legs were still standing, toes were like this, and I did look, God, strongly big, he'd been cut in half, and his legs had been chopped off, and I had the water bottle in my hand. I looked at it, stuck it back, and just walked on. And about a minute later, and I heard a pop, and somebody had put him out of his misery. And to this day you think, I wonder if I'd given him a drink of water, how would he?
Passchendaele. Out of the seasonal mist unique to this corner of Europe comes a lineup of Commonwealth War veterans, high-ranking officials and national leaders. They have come from all over to pay their respects at the 90th anniversary of one of the bloodiest conflicts of the First World War.
Passchendaele represents the greatest loss of life to New Zealand servicemen in any battle or campaign or war that New Zealanders have ever been involved in. Exceeds Gallipoli in terms of the loss of life. It's quite extraordinary, and so many young New Zealanders went to their death at Passchendaele over literally several hundred metres of dirt.
Among the New Zealand dignitaries is Corporal Willie Apiata, VC.
Tremendously important that Willie, as our most recent VC winner, the first since World War II, was there for the country, but also for Willie.
This day will prove a significant turning point in Willie's understanding of the medal he now so proudly bears.
I felt very honoured going over, but, you know, I was seeking knowledge at the same time.
When the official party arrives at Tyncott, the largest Commonwealth cemetery in the world, the true sense of scale and loss is felt by all.
This is an occasion to honour and to remember those who made the supreme sacrifice in the war to end all wars.
Hold thou thy cross before my closing eyes. Shine through the gloom and find me to.
With hundreds of New Zealanders laid to rest here, Tyncott has a profound effect on Willie.
Saw the walls with all their names on it, and that's when it really hits home, where so many men just walked out of their trench, and knew they were going to die.
Abide with me.
For the rest of the day, Willie visits sites where thousands of young men lost their lives.
It took 20 minutes for the Kiwis to get out of the front line, get across no man's land, and have closed with the German front line, so they were up here pretty quick. The Germans knew exactly where they were, and then they started to shell them, and that's when we took most of our casualties.
Almighty God, in whose hands are the living and the dead, we give you thanks for all your servants who have laid down their lives in service of our country. Grant them your mercy and light of your presence. Amen.
Confronted with the monumental loss of life on an unprecedented scale at Passchendaele, Willie's own brush with death now takes on a new meaning.
All the people I know that have been awarded them are just ordinary blokes, and that's all they are. Just normal blokes, just looking out for their mates and doing what people call extraordinary things.
It takes some time to sink in, but I think Passchendaele was a watershed time for him to really understand now what it was really all about.
Departing from the official schedule, Willie returns to Tyncott Cemetery, this time in private.
We went back to Tyncott, and that's where, you know, I had my time.
Quite heavy on the chest there, Willie. Jesus. what are you doing at 21? It's the first Kiwi one we've seen, eh? There's another one of the brothers.
It makes you feel quite unworthy, actually, walking amongst all those gravestones, knowing that, you know, they put more forward than any man could ever ask of them.
As dusk falls, the two soldiers find a grave with the familiar markings of a Victoria Cross.
Tēnā koe e ho. That's one of your brothers, man.
Like so many other Victoria Cross winners, Canadian Private J.P. Robertson died on the battlefield.
It's a tribe that you've been basically awarded into. And that's a forefather that's gone before you, even though he's not a Kiwi. But it's someone that now that carried the burden that I have to carry now.
It's 4 months since Corporal Willie Apiata of the New Zealand Special Air Service was awarded the Victoria Cross for Valour. And in that time he has come to terms with the fact that he is now a national hero and the latest member of a truly unique association of men.
Suddenly been automatically enlisted into a club of very few members.
Accompanied by his commanding officer, Willie has requested a meeting with his lawyers.
Hi Willie. Hi Jim. I'll see you again. And you? Yeah.
He has reached a momentous decision.
Thought long and hard about what I want to do with the medal. It wasn't just earned by me. It was earned by all those men that were out there that day.
In simple terms, it seems to me that you're giving away more than you've ever had, almost before you've got it.
It'll never be sold, or there'll never be any quarrels over it.
As you know, what this does is gift the Victoria Cross effectively to New Zealand. Congratulations.
When my life is past, my son, his sons, and our bloodline, will be able to wear it and represent me. The resting place for it will be here in the unit.